Goodall. So today we're going to be reading some more stories from Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls. And this book, if you don't know, has 100 tales of extraordinary women. So I've chosen 3 today. So the first one we're going to be reading is this person. Does anybody know who she is? Her name is Amelia Earhart. Once upon a time, a girl called Amelia saved enough money to buy a yellow aeroplane. She called it the Canary. A few years later, she became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. It was a dangerous flight. Her tiny plane was tossed around by strong winds and icy storms. She kept herself going with a can of tomato juice. Ooh, could you imagine? She sucked it through a straw. After almost 15 hours, she touched down in a field in Northern Ireland, much to the surprise of the cows. "Have you come far?" asked the farmer. "All the way from America," she laughed. Amelia loved to fly, and she loved doing things no one had ever done before. Her biggest challenge was to be the first woman to fly around the world. She could only take a small bag, as all the space in the plane had to be used for fuel. Her long flight was going well. She was supposed to land on the tiny hollowed islands, but never got there. In her last transmission, Amelia said she was flying through clouds and she was running low on fuel. Her plane disappeared somewhere over the Pacific Ocean and was never found. Before leaving, she wrote, "I am quite aware of the hazards. I want to do it because I want to do it. Women must try to do the same things that men have tried. If they fail, their failure must be a challenge to others." So, and then here at the bottom are the dates, and it says July 24th, 1897 to July 1937, and she was from America. And here, her little quote said, "Adventure is worthwhile in itself." So I hope you enjoyed that. And can you name a few things you actually learned from her? The next one I am going to do is Jane Goodall. Now, some of your mummies and daddies actually might know, and some of you might know who she is and why she's extraordinary. Once in England, there was a girl called Jane who loved climbing trees and reading books. I like to read books too. Shh. Her dream was to go to Africa and spend time with the wild animals there. So one day, Jane flew to Tasmania, where her notebook and binoculars, determined to study real-life chimpanzees in their natural environment. At first, it was hard to get close to them. The chimpanzees would run away the moment she was in sight. But Jane kept visiting the same place every day at the same time. Eventually, the chimps allowed her to get closer. Getting closer was not enough for Jane. She wanted to become friends with them. So she started a banana club. What do you think a banana club is? Whenever she visited the chimpanzees, she would share bananas with them. At the time, little was known about chimpanzees. Some scientists used to observe them from far away using binoculars. Others studied chimps in cages. Jane, instead, spent hours hanging out with chimpanzees. She tried to speak to them using grunts and cries. She climbed trees and ate the same food they ate. She discovered that chimpanzees have rituals that they use, tools, and that their language comprised at least 20 different sounds. Could you imagine having to learn and listen to all of them things that we don't even understand? She even discovered that chimpanzees are not vegetarians. Once Jane rescued an injured chimpanzee, nursed it back to health. When she released it back into the wild, the chimpanzees turned and gave her a long, loving hug, as if to say, "Thanks, bye." And then here it says, born April 3rd, 1934. And this is a picture. And the quote says, "Only if we understand will we care. Only if we care will we help. Only if we help shall we be saved." And I hope you enjoyed that. And the last one is, let's take this off, Rosa Parks. Now, I'm sure some of you do know, but if not, you can always ask your mummies and daddies about these people, or there will be videos that you can have a look at. So, Rosa Parks, an activist. Once upon a time, Montgomery, Alabama was a segregated city. Black people and white people went to different schools, prayed in different churches, shopped in different stores, rode different elevators, and drank from different drinking fountains. Everyone rode the same buses, but they had to sit in different areas. White people up front, black people at the back. Rosa Parks grew up in this black and white world. It was hard for black people, and many were angry and sad because of the segregation. But if they protested, they were thrown in jail. That's not very fair, is it? One day, 42-year-old Rosa was sitting in the back of her bus on her way home from work. It was crowded and there was not enough seats in the front section, the one reserved for whites. So the driver told Rosa to give up her seat so a white person could sit down. Rosa said no. She spent the night in jail, but this one brave act showed people that it was possible to say no to injustice. Rosa's friends declared a boycott. They asked every single black person not to use any of their buses in the city until the law was changed. The word spread fast and wide. The boycott lasted for 381 days. Could you imagine how hard it must have been for people if they worked really far not to get there, but they were doing it for a good reason? It ended when bus segregation was declared unconstitutional by the US Supreme Court. It took 10 years for segregation to be banned in any other state, but it happened finally, thanks to Rosa's first brave no. And here at the end it says February 4th, 1913, October 24th, 2005. And here her quote says, "I would like to be remembered as a person who wanted to be free, so other people would also be free." So I really hope you enjoyed these stories. And actually, do you know what? I would recommend this book. So maybe over the summer you might be able to have a read of some more extraordinary tales of wonderful women. So before I go, I wanted to say a massive goodbye. And I'm going to miss you loads, and you've made my first year at Betty Leywood so much fun. And I actually get to see you a week when we come back, which I'm really excited about. Bye, guys.